to the Million Star Show. Today we're having an amazing conversation on accountability. And yes, there's a male inside of the group. My very, very, very special friend, Stephen Dong, is joining us here. And Stephen, do you want to just say hello?
Certainly, it's great to hang out with you again, Fatima, my accountability partner. Really happy to be part of this conversation. And yeah, it was. I certainly feel like a VIP with this, like the fancy get-ups and around here. So I'm excited to get started. Yeah.
You are a VIP. You're a VIP. So, everyone, we talk about accountability. You know that I've spoken about this conversation in the past on what I saw was missing in the coaching industry. If this is the first time you're meeting us, my name is Fatima Omar Kamisa. I'm the creative founder of Million Stars Academy, where we equip women with the templates, the guides, the done for you content to create extraordinary coaching businesses so you can make more money than your male relatives. And what I want to do is I want to give Stephen Dong an opportunity to introduce himself. Stephen, tell us a little bit about who you are, who you out there in the world, and what is that thing that revs you up?
All right. Well, I'm 37 years old. I got married this year. I live in Toronto, just like Fatima. I work in healthcare. I'm currently a senior strategist at a provincial organization accountable for improving the healthcare of cardiac and vascular patients in Ontario, which is a fancy way of saying that I work with lots of data every day, inside and out. And who I am, what gets me really going. My answer on this would have changed every single year in the past 5 years asked me, but I think creating things and building things is really what gets me going. I feel like I'm happiest and have the most amount of energy when I'm working with my hands and mind and making a difference with something that I created and built. So yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I second that. I've seen that in you, and I know that just that, wakes you up and drives you. So thank you so much for making this time to be here with me and all these amazing women to talk about accountability and the benefits. We're going to talk a little bit about our relationship. We're going
Yeah.
to talk about relatedness. And I know I prepared a couple of questions, and so did you.
Yeah.
So I'm on the hot seat as well, ladies. So Steven's got the green light to ask me the questions he wants to ask me. So let's start a little bit, Stephen, on how you and I met. Let's talk a little bit about that. Do you remember? Because I was asking you before and I was like, I don't even remember when we met.
Of course I remember. Of course, I remember. So how we met was through a development and training course, a one-year course called the Landmark Team Management and Leadership Program. And you get into this course by taking a couple of communication seminars. And then I was one of the people already in the program, and Fatima, having completed the second seminar, was invited to register for the year-long program. And I was one of the people who was welcoming her into this program. And I certainly remember when you first were introduced to the program, you were very resistant. You're like, what am I doing in this 1 year commitment? I have this whole life, folks. I can't be bogged down with all your like calls and meetings and whatever and whatnot. But fortunately for Fatima and for myself, Fatima decided to commit to the 1 year, which you got a ton out of it, as well as I, and we continued following completing that program, continued to be friends, and decided on your initiative to become accountability partners, and we've been that ever since. So we met 4.5 years ago, April of 2017, and I think we've been accountability partners for at least the past 2 years. Time flies when you talk about it.
Longer than that, but yeah,
Yeah.
at minimum of two years.
Yeah.
We've been, I think after we completed about 6 months later,
Yeah.
we
Okay,
started.
that
That
makes
was
sense.
really, really soon after. And I just didn't want to get rid of a good thing. I was like, I got a good thing. I'm holding
Yeah.
on to this thing.
I should mention though that the accountability partnerships was something that was already in the landmark program, and that's something we continued on afterwards because it was working so well for us.
Yeah, yeah. And so let's go right into the benefits. When you
Hmm.
look at the overall benefits, so you were team two team leader, I was team one team leader. You did the program for 2 years. I did the program for 1 year, even though there are many, many prerequisites to get
Yeah,
to TMLP, which is the Team Management and Leadership Program. We even traveled to different cities in the US 4 times. Of course, you did it 8 times, even before I knew you.
10
And
times.
so, yeah, oh, okay, 10 times.
Yeah.
There you go. And when you look at the overall, and I'll tell you what how I look at accountability partners, what do you see as the biggest benefits for having an accountability partner as a leader and from a personal perspective?
Um, well, as a leader, I think the biggest benefit is you just get up to bigger things. I think uh, somebody who inspires you and somebody who is in also shares your commitment to grow and accomplish greater things in life, not to settle for the life that you have, but to help you imagine the possible life that you could have. Those are some things that are really benefited me from having you as my accountability partner. Personally speaking, I mean, I mentioned how I got married this year. I think when Fatima, when you met me 4.5 years ago, you probably were not thinking, man, this is the guy that's really a catch on the
No, I
romance
wasn't
market, you
thinking
know?
that. No,
Like,
I wasn't thinking that.
absolutely, right? So I would say like that is just one example. And I know this we're talking like most of your list of viewers are interested in professional development, but even in personal areas, I have found tremendous success, and part of that was just the development I've done myself, and having an accountability partner was a huge part of that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just going to, Vilma, could you just shut my door, please, honey? Sure. Thanks so much. Yeah, I was just listening to Simon Sinek talk about accountability
Hmm.
partners, and he said that he was trying to run, and he goes every morning he would have this wild, crazy conversation saying, "Oh, I should rest my muscles and I'll run tomorrow." And all of these little things that go on in our head. Tony Robbins, when he talks about accountability partners, he says that if you're doing it for weight loss or health or anything else, you should actually add a pain component to it. So Stephen, I'm promising to run or do my 7,000 steps or 10,000 steps, and if I don't, I have to send you $20 every day I don't,
Yeah,
and really create that pressure. For me, it was enough that we would put our promises in our WhatsApp, right?
yeah,
So that's how we did it. We would be like, okay, we used to meet on Saturdays, now we meet on Sundays, and then we put our promises in. Sometimes we type each other's promises, sometimes we'll put our own promises in. And I can tell you, like, about 48 hours before our meeting, Stephen, I am like, oh my God, let me go check the WhatsApp. What did I tell Stephen I was going to do? Right. And like, there were times that I could just do everything very consciously Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get it done, get it
hmm,
done. But then there were times that I was like, oh, and there is this thread of, as a social creature, we want to make our friends happy. We want to impress our accountability partners. I don't want to get on the call and Stephen is like, did you do your promises? And I'm just like, suck. I didn't
yeah,
do it again, right? So
yeah,
there's that whole entanglement thing. And we've learned that you create me, I create you. So now I'm accountable for me and you.
yeah,
So if I don't do mine, what I promised I was going to say I was going to do, then it shows up in your world as well. And I'm just like, no, that's unacceptable. So there's this whole pressure, like Fatima, to do that thing because not only are you responsible for you, but you're responsible for Stephen.
yeah, for sure. And you bring up that like because all of us are human beings and we want to be liked, especially by people who we enjoy being around and people who we look up to. So the trick of having an accountability partner is to turn um, that desire to be liked and flip it towards and work it to your own advantage, right? That social pressure, like you put it. It was funny that you talked about the pain component because an interesting story. Like I used to leave a lot of clothes around my bedroom, and then my wife would say, "Well, if you every time I catch you doing that, you're gonna pay me $1." So we have like this jar where I'm accumulating money for mistakes made. So that's like a very visual reminder of of the pain commode.
Yeah, people have done that with cussing and swearing
Yeah,
and all kinds of things like that. But I tell you, your wife is whipping you into shape, boy. Whipping you into shape.
yeah. She's very she's way smarter than me. So I can
Well,
imagine
you know
that.
what? You married up and good for you. Good for you. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to you to ask me a question. I've asked a lot of questions so far.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand the baton over to you and you take over the conversation for a bit.
All right. Well, listen, you talked about how having an accountability partner uses that social pressure to your own advantage. But what about the days where you're like really, really not feeling it? And even that isn't enough to keep you going. How do you stay motivated?
Oh my God. Well, I can tell you about this weekend that has just passed. I just wanted to watch Netflix. You know, I had no motivation whatsoever. And I've come to this point where I just let myself do it.
Yeah.
I just let myself do it. And I don't stress about it. However, I will give myself a time limit,
Mm,
right? So
brilliant.
that's what I'll do. I'll be like, okay, you want to have fun, or you just want to relax, or you just want to chill. Now my phone's ringing. First the PSW, then this. Life at home. This is
Yeah.
what happens. Let my phone just ring. It's going to go to voicemail. And so, I used to mentally abuse myself.
Mm,
And I no longer do that. I give
right.
myself full permission to have a complete day out, 2 days. And then at the end of the second day, 48 hours later, I'm like, okay, girl, let's go have a long chat in the mirror.
Right.
And how I get motivated is always connected to my why,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
So there's one thing that I put my promises in. I know I'm going to have a conversation with Stephen. That is one thing. But then at the end of the day, it's about my life, isn't it? It's about the difference I want to make, right? It's about the charities I want to be donating to and supporting. And all of that, how much more Bitcoin do I want to buy or whatever it is. So I have a list of my why, the women that I want to help, and I just read that. I
Hmm.
tap into the why. And guess
Yeah.
what? I just have to read my mission statement 2 or 3 times and I'm up and I'm going because the why is so big for me. The legacy I want to create, the mother I want to be, the model I want to set. And I'm so connected to I am an infinite spiritual being and I will never die. However, I'm having a very time limited meat suit experience.
Hmm. That's
Okay?
perfect. Yeah.
And TikTok, it's going. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's like, okay, you had 2 days of Netflix, you had lots of popcorn, all of that happened. Now what are we doing? Oh, I see Angelica popping into the door there, cutie.
I specifically asked her not to, but not a.
Well, hey, if I'm allowed all these
Yeah.
disturbances, you're allowed.
That's totally fine. I really liked what you said about not fighting it, right? Because they're like, sometimes when people get into the comparison game of social media, we see how people are out there accomplishing so much stuff, and it's like almost you don't get to you beat yourself up for not accomplishing as much as they do. But we know that motivation goes up and down. It's like the waves of an ocean, and sometimes you just need to give yourself the permission to take that break and then wait for your motivation levels to pick up. And, you can accelerate that process by getting related
Yeah.
to your why that you're talking about.
And honestly, Stephen, I have tried to push through it and push and push and push, and it's awful. It's awful. For me, inspired action is the best way. I can get more done in a day than most people can get in a month. And when I'm
Yeah.
inspired, oh my God, like I am unstoppable. And the stuff I can create is worth its weight in gold, silver, and platinum. Okay.
Yeah,
It's so
absolutely.
beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you? How do you do it? How do you motivate yourself on days where you know, because
Well,
you've got
here's the thing
time
about it.
crunches and you've got managers and directors that are breathing
Yeah.
down your neck. So how do you do it?
Well, a couple of things, when it comes to work, and then, I work in a corporate job, right? So I've gotten a lot better at managing my promises, so in a way that I know I won't be um, like having to have a super busy crunch at the end. But there's a broader question of how do I keep myself motivated? Like I would just refer back to us being accountability partners. I mean, you told me how you do it, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that too. Not beat myself up because I'm just like everyone else. I procrastinate, and when I feel myself procrastinating, I feel so awful about it, and then I remind myself of what you say. It's like, oh, this is just normal. I'm just going to let myself experience this, allow myself to watch Netflix or play video games or whatever. And then I know that at some point I'm going to get back to that person who can accomplish in 1 hour what a lazy version of me takes a week to accomplish, so I can catch up that way. So that's how I get through it all.
Yeah, yeah. So, so, so good. And I like what you said, the lazy version of me. And that's so critical to know that I am not just one version. You're not just one version, right? We all have these facets in us. And I can call upon whatever version I want, the villain, the victim, the superhero, the queen, right? I can call upon that version of me and show up on how I'm being in that moment.
For sure, absolutely. And I've seen you do that. So everything you're saying, I've totally visualized that actually has happened. So
Yeah,
very amazing.
yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about relatability, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of people who ask me questions about accountability partners, it's like, well, if I'm looking for an accountability, well, Fatima, you're in your 50s, you're a single mom, you're building this international global $1 million business. You must get an accountability partner that is similar in where you are and what it is. Now, let's look at the two of us. We've actually created a very powerful alliance,
Hmm.
right? And so look at the difference. You're almost the same age as my son,
Yeah. Yep.
right? We don't have anything in common when it comes to the industry we work in. I am a global influencer and entrepreneur. You are?
I'm a public servant working in a government job, so on a pension. So it's
Yeah,
like it couldn't be more different, right? Super secure position, and then entrepreneur, right?
yeah, yeah. Nothing secure about entrepreneurship.
Nothing secure about it. Nothing stable about it. Nothing
Nothing,
guaranteed about it. I
nothing
hear that, huh?
guaranteed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's risky business.
for
Right?
sure.
When we first met, you were a single man. I was a divorced single mom
Yeah.
with five, how my brother would say belly buttons. That's how he calls his little babies, even though they're all grown up and doing their thing.
Yeah.
And so what does that tell you if you summarize accountability partner? Choosing an appropriate accountability partner. What would you say? How would you summarize it?
Well, I mean, I would first like just for your viewers, just be really clear what it's not. It's not just picking just anybody, right? Like
Mm,
you do
mm.
need to form relatedness, um, but it doesn't always have to be the type of relatedness that you think it looks like the type of external relatedness. I want someone who's makes the similar money as me, or in the same industry, or looks like me in this way or another. Like you said, you and I, you're a woman, I'm a man. We're different ages, different races, different industries, different almost everything. But what we do have in common is a commitment to want more out of our lives. And it doesn't even have to be the same things that we want more of, right? And even over time, what you want more of today might not be what you want more of tomorrow. But getting in that space of wanting and having that deep commitment to grow, that's a key ingredient that you want to look for in an accountability partner. Another is also someone who you respect too, right? Because you want someone for whom you are inspired, even if they're accomplishing different things than you people respect character, and character traits are fundamental. Whether this person is trustworthy or loyal, or keeps their word about what they say they'll do. With that word accountability keeps coming back, right? So those are a couple of ingredients I think are fundamental when thinking about choosing an accountability partner. But certainly, um, it also takes like an open mind to look past just the external relatedness and look for something else. And yeah, for you and I, it worked out really, really well. I think we've been very, very fortunate to have found each other.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I like the list that you said of what accountability is not. I also think that, we have fun together. We have so much fun. There's
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, I'm talking about this, and maybe sometimes we just have a venting session, and you want to talk about something, I want to talk about something, and there's zero judgment.
Yeah.
It's just come as you are,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever
It's
that looks like, right? Just come as you are, because there are going to be times when you just have to vent. There's something in your space. I've got a person here that is, I trust them, I respect them, and it's safe
yeah.
for me to just vomit it all out.
Yeah, fundamentally, it's a friendship, right? Like this is not a business relationship where like I pay services or no. This is somebody who you want to choose, and we all know about how like if you want to be more like somebody, you have to choose very wisely who's in your circle, like the five people you're closest to, who you will resemble. Um, so you choose wisely, but you also have to have that friendship and the fact that you just get, like you said, being able to have fun and enjoy each other's company. It's very important. Otherwise, there'd be no way to do this week in, week out for years,
It
right?
wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. Every single Saturday for 2.5 years. I mean, we must have missed a handful of days because someone was traveling or someone was going
Mhm.
somewhere. It was Christmas, or, you're at your mom's or I'm somewhere else. But other than that, 90% of the time, that's a lot of Saturdays and Sundays,
Yeah.
52 each year. And to be able to do this every single week and not cancel and keep your word, fulfill your promises, that's another thing. A person, I mean, we didn't have this experience, but I'm thinking, let's say we did this for 4, 5, 6 months and I don't keep my promises, and every single Saturday we meet, or you don't, you're going to be like, I got to find someone else.
Yeah. I'm not getting what I could get out of this, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
right. Because it's like every time I fulfill on my promise, you fulfill, we motivate each other and get each other excited. I remember the time when you were on this thing about losing weight. You were like, okay, remember that?
Yeah, that was before viewers, not so much now, but yes, go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was way, way before, right? I mean, there's so many cute things that happened. Like you were on this getting healthy, then you were on this game that we played, and you were like cooking for love. That was one of my favorite things. You started to run. Like
Yeah.
so many different things you did. You became a landlord. You invested in new property. You
Yeah.
got married. Like I can just think of so many amazing things that have happened in this accountability. And for viewers who are watching, we didn't see each other during this time, like very, very little.
Yeah, like maybe just a couple of times since COVID. But well, yeah, that's a great thing you mentioned because I didn't even get to talk about how like I just started a new job last week, and
Yep.
that pays like 40% more than I made 2 years ago, just
Yep.
two Novembers ago. Yeah,
I
so like
know.
in 2 years, I increased my salary by 40%, which by the way, in public sector is hard to do.
It's
I know,
very hard to do.
I know that in the world of entrepreneurship, 40% might not always seem like a lot, but in public sector, that's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Really.
many
It's been
things.
a great it's been a great time. Since we've been accountability partners, my life has really taken off in so many different dimensions as well. So I'm truly grateful.
So elaborate on that. Tell us a little bit about that. I did a little synopsis on how your life has changed and just like the things that you did in project wise from my perspective. How has it changed for you?
Well, what's interesting is this job that I just started. I'm working for two women who actually worked with me back in 2013 to 2016. So another way, so I'm just saying this because they knew me way back when, right? And they've just so commented on how much I've grown since then and how completely transformed I appear just in the past week. But really, I tell them like the biggest difference is I'm just simply much more calm and happier and at ease in my life. And I think back at that time, I was just more stressed. There was just like a constant underlying anxiety that I couldn't accomplish. I couldn't even see what was possible to accomplish with that in place. And so you talked about like, the landlord thing or the financial success or the romantic success. And yes, I did learn how to cook a couple of things as well along the way, the whole cooking little hub. So I do know my way around the kitchen a little bit better now, ladies. Thank you. Uh,
And he's not available, so don't get your hopes
no,
up, okay,
it's
ladies?
but underlying all of the common theme is I just much more comfortable in my own skin and just I give myself a break to allow myself to be who I am day in and day out, and I think people enjoy being around me now because of that, and everything else in my life it just kind of falls into place.
Yeah, yeah. And I see how much you've grown. I've seen, the difference in your life. I've seen how you've shown up. I've seen how much you gave up
Mm,
insecurities, impatience, things that were not working, kept looking at yourself and putting yourself, you know, on the chopping board, saying, "Okay, I want to look at myself." And it took something, Stephen.
yeah,
It took
took a
something.
lot.
Yeah,
Took a
it took
lot.
a lot. And you brought so much generosity and love and courage to take on new modalities and to take on new projects and to say, I want this and this is what I'm willing to do for it. So really a huge acknowledgement to you.
Yeah, it feels quite impressive when you put it that way and having someone else say it. But I will want to add that it didn't happen overnight, right? Like
No.
we were able to look back and say, oh, this all this growth, but it's like a multi-year thing. And I mentioned 2013 to 2016, like that's when it really started, right? And you met me shortly after, like 2017. So you got to see most of it. But things like that take time. But it's like exponential growth with everything. You'll Everything builds on top of each other, and at some point you're just like amazed at what was possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Your turn. You got a question there? I'm going to take a sip of
Yeah.
water.
So I'll just since we're talking about looking back in the past, I just wanted to ask you, what is something you know today, piece of like nice wisdom for your viewers that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
Wow. So much. Like so much. Think about like 5 years, how much has changed in 5 years. Well, I could definitely have bought Netflix, Zoom, Amazon, Apple. Okay. If I could go back, that's the very first thing I would do. I would go buy five stocks: Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Zoom, stuff like
Crypto.
that. If I had this little predictable thing.
Yeah.
And I think as a single mom, money is always going to be something that I'm going to strive towards to create that security. And I feel so blessed today that I know I'm an expert at how to generate money.
Mm,
I know how to generate money. I have a
yeah.
strategy, I have a system, It's like cooking lamb chops. When you tell me you're going to make coriander lamb chops or whatever, you know exactly how long to marinate it for, what to do. Well, I found that recipe to generate money and to generate money at a very high level, quickly, fast, make an impact globally, help women all around the world to be able to do the same. And that's so huge for me. That is so huge for me because other people's voices are still in my head. I mean, I've done a lot of work, but I
Yeah.
can still hear the naysayers, right? I can still hear the voices of my former perpetrators, right? Like, you're never going
Mhm.
to make it. And I'm just like, watch me now, right? Watch me now. And I did it. I did it, Stephen. So yeah, 5 years ago, I would have done that. And when I think about, like, you were very, very eloquently, explaining what you went through and the greatest accomplishments you have seen, I just remembered that when I met you, Million Stars Academy was a thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. It was like a dream of yours. Yeah.
It was a dream. I had
Yeah.
a dream. And I remember when you and I first sat down and we were creating the game inside of the team management and leadership program. And inside of team, you can either, it's broken up into 4 quarters. So you can either do 4 games, or you can break it up in half, or a whole thing. And I said, I'm going to play a game that is going to take me the entire year to accomplish.
Yeah, you had the vision of playing for a big game,
Yeah.
and that's something I really remembered. I do remember that you
We
were
were
one of
in
the few
Houston.
people. Yeah, I remember that.
We were in
Yeah.
Houston, and there was this, we were playing this game, and I was like, this is what I want. And I shared my dream. And in the very first quarter, I wrote the book, Million
Yeah.
Stars. And the book hit #1 inside of the first quarter. And then I started working on the modules. And look at it today. Like, here we are on the Million Star Show,
Mhm.
and we have a 1 year Million Stars Academy, and hundreds of women have gone through it. And it has been one of my life's greatest achievements.
Certainly, and kind of to recap, so what you wish you would have known 5 years ago is the magic recipe for making money. Would
Yeah.
that sum it up? Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Thank you for being a mirror. That's why I need you, Stephen. You know, you just take all my googly goog and just put it in one sentence.
We are a mirror of each other, so we kind of get it.
Yeah. 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 We get it. We get it. Okay. So I've got a question. Um, who are you becoming?
I mean, it's hard to say. And I think one thing that I'm noticing is that who I'm becoming changes like every 6 months, but this time, but because I'm no longer just becoming nothing and just staying still. I'm constantly growing, so I'm becoming a lifelong learner. Is the first thing I would say, and becoming curious about what I can accomplish in the future, becoming more open to uh, experiences and possibilities that before I would have just thought, oh, that's not within the realm of possibility. Like I remember there was a few moments in my life where people would look at me and say, "Listen, you should be like running organizations or be like a top executive in organizations." And at that time, I was like at the bottom of the totem pole, and I thought, well, that would never be me. But now I'm at the point where I can see it. Right, I'm not there yet, but I can see myself being there and not just getting there, but actually making a difference by being that person at the top who can make life easier for people below me and people who report to me. It's just a freeing feeling to know that there's to wake up and know that like life is just full of freedom and possibilities, and not oh I have to get up and do this all over again. So I'm becoming more free, I would say. Yeah, in a way to put it.
I love that. That is so powerful. So powerful because I think about how many people are in like dead end jobs or dead end
Yeah.
relationships, and they're so filled with, and we'll use labels like stuck or overwhelmed or depressed or sad, and these are words people use in their language every day, and they don't see possibility.
No, no. They just experience victimhood,
Yeah,
actually, right?
yeah.
Like this is happening to me, not I have the
To
power
me,
to.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Resigned and
I
cynical, right? And
I was there, right? So I'm speaking from experience. I'm not just speaking of, this is me and these are other people. No, I'm like, this is me and this was me like 5 years ago. It's like I remember it. It's a personal experience for me.
yeah, I do too. I remember being in a loveless, abusive marriage and being resigned and being sad and depressed and suicidal and thinking, I'm never going to amount to anything. This is my life and I'm stuck here forever.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah. And look at you now.
Look at me now.
Yeah, look at how far you've come. Very impressive.
It is humbling, honestly, Stephen. It is truly humbling that the creator has brought me to this spot. You
Yeah.
know, it is truly humbling. Like I have no words to say except that. And the right people came. It's like when a bus pulls into the station, you either buy a ticket or you watch it go by.
Hmm.
And opportunities showed up at my doorstep, and I chose. And I put aside my fears and I jumped on and I bought a ticket. And I was willing to see where it was going to take me and
Yeah,
put
willing
myself
to want
in
to.
very uncomfortable positions.
Yes. Yeah. I was there for the ride. I saw that process. And yeah, there were some very difficult moments for sure.
Do you remember
And
me crying?
of
Oh my
course,
God. How
of
many
course.
times I cried, Stephen?
Not that many. For those viewers, Fatima's a tough cookie. If she was crying, it wasn't in front of me, but there were a couple times I do remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
probably why you're saying how many times, because you experienced it. Well, I only experienced a couple, but there were definitely tough moments that you had to push through, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And uncomfortable, I really learned in our experience together how uncomfortable situations where I was being pulled and pushed in so many different ways to dig deeper, and find that strength until I just broke down. And I think what actually happens in my own experience of what happened is that I was broken open to allow myself to emerge.
Mm, yeah,
But if I didn't get to that end and that point, it would never have happened because there were so many times I wanted to quit.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure your viewers could relate, right, to that part.
Yeah,
So
so many times, so many times. Do you have any other questions?
just real quick, since we're wrapping up, like, what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? I am most proud of, I mean, I could go through a whole list,
Mhm.
but if I really had to pinpoint, the one thing that was missing from my life was being an authentic human being.
Uh,
I spent so much of my life people pleasing, Stephen.
yeah.
Right? If you ever asked me, what do you want? I would look at my husband, like, what is he giving me permission to do? Right? What is my father giving me permission to do? So everything in my life was connected to pleasing other people, my parents, my dad, my mom, my in-laws, my husband, my children. So what am I most proud of is that I don't have to say yes when I don't mean yes. I don't have to say no when I really want to say yes.
Hmm.
I can fully be me. And I have put myself in so many situations and up leveled my skills in communication so effectively that I can easily and effortlessly say what I mean what I say, communicate with the people I love the most, communicate with my clients. And I've upgraded myself. I'm a brand new version of me.
Yeah.
For the amount of times my phone tells me to upgrade, I've upgraded me more times than my phone has upgraded its software. Honestly, keep on shedding,
Yeah.
taking off this, taking off the facade, removing the fakeness, removing all of that. And then just saying, having these big conversations with me, like, what do you really want? What are you up to, Fatima? Is this what you want to waste your time doing? Are these the people you want to surround yourself with? And then delete, eliminate until I found peace.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so interesting how you initially just started saying, I want to be someone who says yes when I want to say yes and not no, and no when I want to say no and not yes. But also, like, you have to get to a point of really knowing yourself and the authentic self that you refer to before you can do that. For a lot of people who are trapped, and who aren't as self-fulfilled, they think yes is actually a real yes when it's a no. When they actually want to say no, they can't tell the difference. So, like, I'm really piecing together everything you're saying. It's like it's all tied together to this personal development.
Yeah,
So that's incredible.
yeah. Okay, I have one final question for you. Tell me about the future. What are you creating?
Creating, well, hopefully a family
Yeah, I
at some
know.
point.
Little baby dog's coming.
Yeah, like financial freedom, uh, early retirement. Um, at some point, I want to explore writing because I think it's like a really core form of expression for me. And uh, I don't know, more money, right? Who doesn't want more money,
Who
right?
doesn't want more
I think
money?
all your viewers would like more money too. So yeah, those are what I'm up to. What about you?
I love it. I love it. What am I up to? I think there's a book coming. A book is
Okay,
emerging. Yeah, I haven't written a book since Million Stars, so there's definitely something brewing inside of me. I think 2022, book is emerging, and a podcast.
nice.
Yeah, so you can, have me in the car and in your home or wherever you are.
Don't have to
And
wait till Saturday, right?
that's right. Wait until Saturday. You don't have to wait until Saturday.
Yeah,
But other than that, just more of the same.
yeah,
More of the same. I have the tranquility, the peace of mind. My Hamza, the baby, just pressed the send button on his application for university early entrance. So I'll be with my old man, Tarek, and
yeah,
it'll be him and I, and we'll just carry on together and just do more of the same. Help as
yeah,
many women who want that help. The one thing I know is I can't coach desire. You got to
yeah,
be hungry when you
for
come.
sure. Yeah.
You got to be hungry and thirsty and you got to want it really, really badly. And just do more of the same. That's it.
You can do more of the same when you're loving your life, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
really what I'm getting.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for your
It was a pleasure.
generosity, your love, your loyalty, your dedication, for being such a mirror to me. And you saw something in me, the greatness, my energy. I remember you saying, "Oh, well, you have not met Fatima in person." And your description of me really impacted me. It impacted me deeply in such a way that no one has ever described me the way you did.
I really got
And
that.
yeah, yeah. And you saw me as so much bigger than how I saw myself. And I leaned on that. I leaned on your version of how you saw me. And
Appreciate that.
I thank you for that.
Well, it was an honor and privilege to be here, and I'm so grateful. Again, I'm just remembering how grateful I am to have you in my life, and I can't wait to see what you're up to going forward. So yeah, I'm gonna hold you accountable to those things.
Good, good. Thank you so much, Stephen. And
Thanks.
we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.